Welcome back, everybody, to Chapter 9, Filling the Void of the book, Future Proofing You. Now, the quote of this book is, if you look long enough into the void begins to look back through you. This was from Friedrich Nietzsche. Now, the story of this chapter, and I'll get into it after I tell you. Basically, I'm going to summarize the entire chapter for you. It's about filling the void. Basically, what this chapter title is what it talks about. And it talks about how if one person creates one thing, then it's going to create other opportunities for people to create more things for it. That's what it means to fill the void. And this chapter gives a bunch of examples, which I'm also going to give you a bunch of examples. The story of this chapter is about Apple launching the iPhone X. And it talks about how everybody made lines just to get the iPhone X because there was going to be a huge anniversary for the Apple Store when it created the very first iPhone. Right, so it was going to be the 10th anniversary for this phone. So everybody lined up just to collect this phone, just to get the iPhone X. And everybody in line, one person was in line, just waiting to go next, when a customer exits the Apple Store. And it goes straight to the person in line who's waiting to hold his own iPhone and says, hey, I want you to throw this onto the floor as hard as you can. And this guy's like, what the hell are you talking about? You just bought the phone. In his mind, but he's just looking at this guy frozen, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll smash it. And the guy throws the phone as hard as he can onto the floor, picks it up and sees that there's no cracks, no scratch, and it's perfectly fine. And what had happened was these group of millennials, which this book calls these people millennials, created a phone case that protected the iPhone so well. And it wasn't a military style case, it was a slim case, but slim enough to give it enough protection, because there's slim cases that just suck, but this one was just perfect. Now, there was 5 millennials, and they were from England, and they used YouTube, to promote their case. But just by doing that line made people see like, crap, I need that case. And what those kids did is they filled a void. So the iPhone, so Apple itself was only focused on making the iPhone. They didn't care about anything else that went with it. So these kids saw that, they noticed it. They said, you know what? Apple's too busy making their phone. Let's make something that people are going to need with the phone. And they created that case. And that's what this whole story is all about, filling the void. So truth number 9 is you must fill a void. If you want to become future-proof, the truth that must become your guiding mantra is fill the void. Saying that millions of people post pictures of their dogs on Instagram, the team at Paul Champs recognized a void in the $66 billion pet industry, $66 billion pet industry. So what did they do? Well, people knew that it's so hard to get their dogs to take selfies with them, which I have never attempted to do with my dog, but she stays still. Anyways, they created like a little attachment for your phone that leverages over and holds a treat for the dog to look straight into the phone. And their slogan was the paw, right? The dog's paw, perfect picture, perfect picture. Whatever. So the Instagram pet phone accessory void was filled. Each January, more than 175,000 attendees packed the Las Vegas Convention Center in search of the next big thing at the Consumer Electronics Show. Think of all the new product categories that didn't exist just a few years ago. 3D printers, smart speakers, video doorbells, Internet of Things, appliances, Wi-Fi mesh networks, drones, virtual reality, and augmented reality glasses. Each of these new products introductions create 2 voids for the savvy entrepreneur. So this subtitle is called Multi and Use Case Voids. So basically what it's saying, And this video might be a lot longer because I'm gonna get really in detail with this chapter to kind of get you an understanding. But is the first void that needs filling is what I refer to as mortar products. If the big multinational corporations are making the bricks, you can make millions supplying the mortar that holds their market together. Because of the substantial investments these titans of the industry are making in their new products, they need to focus on the large primary uses of their devices where they can grab the biggest bite of consumer spending. Multinational corporations act like carnivores, sharks in the water, chasing the largest fish they can eat. You, the person watching this video, being much smaller, need to think and act like the clever remora. The remora is a small fish whose suction cup dorsal fin allows it to latch onto the underside of the sharks and feed off of the scrapes dropped by the larger predators as they devour their prey. So imagine yourself being that little person, that little fishy, and being like, yo, if Apple, Google, and Facebook are just making these big products, let me be that little person that also makes successes off their products. Just like those kids who made the case. Who knew they needed an iPhone case? Everybody. Why? Because Apple, the iPhone is notorious for their screens being cracked. Like everybody knows to make fun of an iPhone user when their phone is always cracking. And they just filled that void. I mean, Apple was too busy selling 738 billion worth of iPhones that they didn't need to focus on the iPhone case market. So enormous new categories create voids to fill, which is what I literally just said. Large company marketers need to be able to immediately explain their products by showing them in use. When Apple created the iPad, the company needed a simple way to explain the new concept of swiping the screens to consumers. As hard as it is to believe, swiping right and left didn't exist prior to 2012. So Apple found the nearly bankrupt Rovio Entertainment in Finland. Apple marketers included clips of their new game to kind of show how you could swipe left, swipe right on their iPad. And this game was Angry Birds. So Apple literally went to a person who focused on making a video game, swiping left to right, to use into their Apple commercial. And when people notice the game, when they're swiping left to right, or like, oh man, I want to get that game too. So because this guy focused on one little thing that Apple couldn't focus on and that Apple needed, they went to this person and said, hey, we'll pay you big money. Not just that, not just paying them big money for the commercial, but they also continues to get revenue from people downloading that game. Filling the void fills the vacuum created by their introduction. So with the virtual reality and augmented reality market is estimated to be selling over 200 billion worth of hardware by the year of 2022, major technology companies are funding millions of dollars of software demo titles. The stakes for companies such as Apple, Google, and Facebook have been even higher. If consumers start spending the kind of time in a spatial reality that they spend on mobile today, the advertising and e-commerce opportunities could exceed $1 trillion. This void is such a huge opportunity. So if you guys are looking to be an entrepreneur, that's a big ass hint right there. So another subtitle and another important category this book chapter focuses on is cross-pollination. Another good place to look for voids is anywhere that has cross-pollination taking place. In nature, cross-pollination is when a bee or a wind transfers pollen from the anthers of one flower to the stigma of another flower. While the flowers are each just sitting there, the bee gets all the honey, so be the bee. If you look around for new areas of cross-pollination, you are bound to find opportunities for the bee. With Tesla, Elon Musk was cross-pollinating an automobile with an iPhone to create an app on wheels. Both industries focus on mobility, so why not combine them? The curve postulates that every innovation goes through 5 phases. The first is the technology trigger, which is some splashing new breakthrough in a lab or university. The trigger is so far to unproven to be commercialized by companies. There is so much excitement for the trigger's potential that a crescendo builds in the media, creating, number 2, peak of inflated expectations. When nothing real materializes in people's lives, the new technology languishes in the number 3 trough of delusionment. Many startups fail at this stage of the curve as early investors in the sector as nursing their wounds waiting for sales to develop. As real products slowly come to the market, the tech rises up the number 4 slope of enlightenment until finally they become mainstream and broadly accept on the plateau of productivity. And that's number 5, plateau of productivity. By applying an eye towards cross-pollination of the grand curve's new trend and the related void, new opportunities emerge. As the writing of this book, I am most excited by the combination of 5G, cloud computing, wearables, AI, and spatial reality to create always on, always connected, augmented reality world. So that is another big hint for those entrepreneurs looking to enter into a new field of opportunity. And then it goes into another subtitle that says 30-Day Challenge Revisited. How do you find a niche to exploit in this new 5G enabled world? Go back to your 3 problems a day 30-day challenge chart from chapter 2. Look at the ideas and opportunities you identified as problems and see if new technological void could be the answer. Another subtext is new technology solves old problems. I'm going to read this really quickly. For each idea on your 3 problems a day 30 challenge chart, ask yourself this basic question. Why hasn't somebody done this before? If the answer that the technology wasn't available or affordable to match the problem it is solving, then that is the void to focus on. So another subtext is find voids others are too busy to fill. And the example it gives is when billionaire visionary Elon Musk announces a new technology the entire world notices. In 2012, Musk spoke for the first time about a proposed very high-speed vacuum tube train in which passengers sitting in pressurized capsules would glide in air beings. According to Musk, travelers will go from Washington, D.C. to New York City in 29 minutes as compared to 2 hours and 45 minutes, or from Los Angeles to San Francisco in 35 minutes, half the time of flying on commercial jets. Now, because he mentioned hyperloops, that started a big-ass trend, and so many other people started to just not just people, but like cities, countries, states, like just Finland, Sweden, Russia, Dubai, and the Netherlands. Bebop, Gresta, and Dirk Alborn's Hyperloop transportation technology quickly ran a crowdfunding campaign on Jumpstarter for funding. France, Australia, Slovakia, Hungary, India, and China, Canada, Spain, all these people just started to jump onto this Hyperloop. Even people creating the Hyperloop coin, which is a cryptocurrency coin. Just after one person says one thing, people just look to see where the opportunity is in that. And that is how we, as entrepreneurs, need to think. If we feel like we missed it, for example, damn, I wish I could have created the Instagram app. Well, now you find out where voids fit in that, which is like the example I gave where that company, the dog company, decided to make that little stick to help you take selfies with that dog. Or if you're someone that's like, man, I really missed the opportunity of Facebook. Look at, they even took out MySpace, and you think about the void Facebook is missing. Or when you're like, damn, I really wish I was a person who first created a car, then you look for the void in that. I mean, there's such many more voids in there that people have taken advantage of, which is like car steering wheel covers, floor mats, car washing, all those are considered voids. Because when Ford first made his car, he didn't think about car washes. He didn't think about maintenance inside, like the car mats and the radio and all that stuff. He just focused on getting something moving, and other people jumped into the market and helped build his car just by implementing the ideas of what they could offer. That is what filling the void means. And to be that entrepreneur, you have to find voids to fill. And that is, to me, something new that I learned from this book that I would have not learned anywhere else, because obviously I didn't come across it until now. And that is that opportunities, when they say opportunities live everywhere, it basically lives everywhere. For example, tripods for phones. and the ring light. I mean, who thought of that and why? Because people want good lighting when they're taking their videos or when they're taking their pictures. They didn't create the camera, but they created an accessory for the camera to benefit you as a person. And then it goes into Vin's, right? So still on the experiment of Vin, so Vin's void vanishes, and his void was the world's best agency that marketed ICOs and cryptocurrencies that were coming brand new. But Facebook, Google, the government, everyone just shut it down because people are just creating coins like nothing and scamming people. So like they said, you know what, we're not gonna promote anything or jump into anything that has to do with cryptocurrencies. Like we're taking that off our feeds. So Vin lost that. But the good thing about that is that his mentor told him from the very first meeting, I had stressed to Vin that he needed multiple streams of revenue. The more sources of revenue you have from different channels, the more one income stream can compensate for a dip in another stream. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And despite facing an advertisement ban that neither Vin nor I had predicted, Vin's two revenue streams were working together to forge a mighty flow of income into the world's best agency. That's it. That's all of chapter 9. Again, filling the void. This book just gives you basically juice. It gives you food. It gives you gems. It gets you to think differently of how to see the world, how to see every little thing you own, like from a table to a chair to a car to a wall to a roof to a laptop. Like all of these things come with more opportunity. So going back to your 30-day challenge of problems, ask yourself, how can I fill a void? And that's going to get you closer into finding your breakthrough, into making you into a millionaire and becoming financially free or wealthy. But that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, comment down below your readings. If you haven't bought your book and you want to buy your book, there's going to be a link in the description below. It goes straight to Amazon to buy your book because it's really fast and efficient. But that's it. Thank you for watching this video.